Selah.
An intentional pause for reflection and connection.
Selah.
Content-rich dialogue and discussions.
Selah.
Pray and worship together.
Selah.
Living the way.
Selah.
Hi everyone, welcome to our second Selah Saturday. We designed this time for you to have an opportunity to intentionally pause from the regular rhythm of worship or just the rhythm of your weekend so that you can make room in your life for building connections with people. As you are gathered in homes, apartments, and other types of spaces, our hope is that you will get to connect in ways that make your lives more meaningful. Last month within our Selah groups, we discussed the importance of community and how being in spiritual community is essential for spiritual development. At the end, your challenge was to find and identify someone within your Selah group that you can connect with and pray with outside of Selah Saturdays. And your second challenge was to think of the unique ways you can provide support to your Selah groups, whether that be helping coordinate food, setting up a group chat for your group members, or even praying with those in your group. We hope you found time to complete those two challenges. This month, we want to focus on the importance of telling your story, or in other words, sharing your story. As believers, it is important that we share how God is moving in our lives. Author and researcher Brené Brown refers to this as story stewardship. Story stewardship means honoring the sacred nature of stories, the ones we share and the ones we hear, and knowing that we've been entrusted with something valuable, or that we have something valuable that we should treat with respect and care. Your stories are significant. So to begin our time together, I have a few connection questions for you that I want you to get into your group with and discuss. The questions are: number one, who is your favorite storyteller and why? 2, what makes a good story? And then 3, share a story that you heard and that impacted you. So go ahead, pause the video with the questions here on the screen, and take some time in your group to share. Then when you're done, unpause and come back for the teaching moment. We'll see you soon.
Every day we hear stories. While watching the news, you hear stories of what is going on in the world. Scrolling TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you are seeing stories of others' lives. When you ask someone about their day, you are hearing their story. When reading a book or a textbook, you are reading a story. When listening to a podcast, I think you know what I'm about to say next. Yeah. You're hearing a story. Even children, when they are told a bedtime story, they are hearing a story. Every day, we hear, see, and interact with stories. But when was the last time you told a story? When was the last time you shared your story? Rachel Rifkin, a professional storyteller, shares that we are losing generations of family history because while we hear stories every day, we fail to share our stories in the same manner. While we love grandma's special pie, her special dessert, we fail to actually know the recipe. We've been told that Pookie and them are our cousins, but we fail to know how are they actually related to us. We know our last name is from our parents, but we fail to know the true origins of our bloodline. We're losing generations of family history because we don't share, we don't tell our stories. Now imagine the generations of history we are losing in the church. Imagine the generations of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding we are losing in our spiritual families because we don't share our story. We love and know Sister so-and-so was miraculously healed of a disease, but how did she keep the faith when the physical pain was unbearable? We know God will take care of all our needs according to his riches and glory, but do you really know how to have hope when you don't know how to pay for your next meal or for gas? We know to praise until our breakthrough. But how do you sing songs of praise when all you want to do is cry? We are losing generations of faith history, of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in our spiritual families, the church, because we don't share our stories. But here through Selah, a voluntary, intentional pause for reflection and connection, we want to break this trend. We want you, yes, you, to share your story today. We want you to share your story, just like the woman at the well in John 4, who dropped her water jug and stopped her daily routine to run and tell everyone in the town her story. Yep, just like her, we want you to share your story. Just like the demon-possessed man in Mark 5 who was healed and ran to tell the same people who were once scared of him his story, just like him, we want you to share your story. For when you share your story in community, you help someone else feel less alone. Have you listened to someone share about their life experience and you think, wow, someone else has been through that too? I thought it was just me. Yeah, your story has the potential to help someone feel less alone and build community. When you share your story, you empower others. When people hear your story and how it made you who you are today, it empowers them to do the same in their lives. And when you share your story, it can be healing. No matter what you're going through in your life, sharing your story can be healing both for you and for those who are listening. For studies have found that your story doesn't need to be perfect or profound, but having someone to listen and being heard plays a huge part in their healing journey. So, of course, we want you to share your story today. We want you to share your story and experience all of these things. Now, you may be wondering, how do I share my story? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here are 3 steps to take in sharing your story. Step 1, acknowledge your nerves. Whether you're speaking to one person or 100, sharing your story can be a scary thing to do. If you're nervous, it is okay. However, acknowledging your nerves can soften your fear. You can simply start your story by saying, I'm nervous sharing this, and then continue to share your story. Step 2, be selective. Being vulnerable and sharing your story does not mean you need to share everything. You do not need to share every single detail with everyone. Vulnerability is meant to bring people closer together and leave them feeling more connected. And oversharing actually does the opposite. Oversharing is uncomfortable and is an unsatisfying experience for both parties. So as you think about what you're going to choose to share, ask yourself these questions. What am I comfortable sharing today? Why am I sharing this? Will sharing this story bring people closer together and feel more connected? We hope these questions will help you select what story and how much of your story you will share with others. Now, step 3, be clear. As you share your story, be clear. When you are clear about what you want to get across, it is easy for your audience to understand and receive your message. So as you share your story here and beyond, remember these 3 steps. Acknowledge your nerves, be selective, and be clear. Now, as we come to the end of our teaching moment, we want to share one more thing. Now that you know how to share your story, we also want to share how to receive someone else's story. We want you to be an empathetic listener. Hebrews 4:15 shares that we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses. Jesus empathizes with us. Jesus is empathetic. Jesus is an empathetic listener, and we want you to do the same today. We want you to be an empathetic listener, and we ask you to be non-judgmental. The Crisis Prevention Institute shares that being non-judgmental is the hardest part of being an empathetic listener. They share that letting go of your own opinions is hard, but it frees you to focus on the other person's perspective. Acknowledging a person's view and their emotion helps you to help them. This doesn't mean you need to agree with everything the person says, but it's about letting them know you care and that they matter. Give the person your undivided attention. Put down your phone. Turn your body towards them. Make eye contact. Nod your head. Let the other person know that their story matters. And don't be afraid of silence. If someone takes a pause during their story, it is okay. The individual might be thinking about what to say next or may need a few silent moments to rein in their emotions. And lastly, we ask that you respect their trust. Storytelling is not easy for everyone. Therefore, respect their trust to share their story with you by thanking them for sharing their story, and then not sharing their story to others without their knowledge. Doing all of these things, you can be an empathetic listener as others in your group share their story. Now is your turn to practice sharing your story and being an empathetic listener as Pastor Tiffany leads us into our discussion time.
Sharing your story serves as a source of courage for the future and connection for the present. As Pastor Gina just shared, recounting our experiences with others is a vital element in our spiritual and social growth. We would love for you to have that opportunity to experience that today. Here are a few questions for meditation and discussion with those in your group. Number 1, what stood out to you from the teaching? Number 2, share an experience that serves as a beacon of hope for you. Number 3, how does sharing your story make you feel? And number 4, how does hearing someone else's story impact you today, and how does it impact your perspective in moving forward? So pause the video now, and if you choose, you may take a few minutes to journal your answers first and then share with your group. We hope that both sharing and listening to the experiences of others brought a fresh renewal to your own spirit. Selah Saturday is a time to slow down our pace, create margin in our lives, and be intentional about reflecting and connecting with those around us. We invite you to pray together today as a group, thanking Him for how He has worked in the past. You can also pray for each other this week to experience God in a fresh, dynamic, and powerful way. And if your group has a group chat, drop a story during the week in the group chat or leave a voice memo to encourage everyone. Selah is supported by your generous contributions. So right now, there's a QR code on the screen. When you grab your phone and open the link with your camera app, it will take you to 3 ways to share your tithe and offering. First, you could click on the website to take you to our website, which is revisionchurchatlanta.org/give, or you can go to adventistgiving.org, or you could use PayPal. Thank you for your consistent, generous giving that's making a difference for eternity. Thank you again for being a part of the Selah Saturday experience. Keep sharing your story, and we look forward to seeing you right here next month.